Why did that restart? No, bad. Bad. I forgot to hit stop. And there we go. It wouldn't be a new episode if there wasn't something going wrong.
Indeed.
I'll get it right at some point, I promise. But
No, you won't.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
It's just reality, isn't it?
Rude.
How many years we've been doing this now?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, we did take like
if we
2
haven't got
years
it by
off.
now, we're never going to get it.
Hey, look, to be fair, I wasn't the one running the streams before.
No, things might change. You're right.
I will automate this. I will get this down pat at some point. But anyway, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Boosters in Space Tape. My name is Matoro, and today's date is May 16th, 2020, and it's time for Episode 4. So, welcome to Episode 4 of Boosters in Space Tape, the podcast about Kerbal Space Program.
Rebooted.
What?
Relaunched, isn't it?
Relaunched. You just kept saying Episode 4 Boosters in Space Tape. I'm like, but we already had an Episode 4 Boosters in Space Tape. You need to say it's Episode 4 Boosters in Space Tape relaunched.
Welcome to episode 4 of the all-new Boosters in Space Tape.
He's got it. There you go. Relaunched.
Yeah,
It's like Malibu Stacy with a new hat.
threw off my groove.
How many times can we derail Mater in the first couple of minutes? Yeah.
We've gone 3 for 3 so far. Well, 4 for 4 so far.
If I could give him a hard time occasionally.
That's my job, Red. Calm down.
I'm just helping. You want me to help out with the podcast? I'm just helping.
You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Oh, good.
So, shall I take it from the top?
Well,
What harm can it do?
said the chambermaid to the bishop. And I don't know.
I thought you were in
yes?
charge of this thing now. You're making sure.
Oh, this. Okay. Welcome back to Boosters in Space Tape, Episode 4, the podcast about Kerbal Space Program.
Relaunched.
Relaunched.
Mother.
And that
One job, Mater.
These attempts to synchronize.
One job.
Hang on. We have a script.
Do we?
There you go.
All right.
helping.
Fine. Third time's the charm. Hello, and welcome back. If any of you say a damn thing,
Lost it.
welcome back to Episode 4 of Boosters. Oh my god. It's Episode 4. We're the Kerbal Spot. Whatever. Last weekend was Mother's Day, so we all hope you gave your life givers a very happy Mother's Day. There.
Intro time. In the words of Bob Ross, and in the words of Bob Ross, I'm gonna call this finished.
Got a happy little Mater right here. Or maybe not so happy little Mater right here.
You know what else Bob Ross said?
pretty happy.
Something I'm gonna do to all of you. Beat the devil out of it.
Just happy little accidents.
What is that? And why don't I have one?
It's a bobblehead.
It's a talking bobblehead.
It's a bobblehead. I love the pun.
It works though.
I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, it's amazing.
But in all seriousness, before they interrupt me again, welcome to Episode 4 of Boosters in Space Tape. Hey, it took four takes. Boosters in Space
still
Tape
in-
relaunched the podcast about Kerbal Space Program, real space, and other cool and sciencey stuff. With me are my
Sounds
fellow
like there's a lot of
hosts,
clipping.
Akinesis Gaming, DigitalPsychosis, and TheReadPanda. And yeah, Eclipse. Have fun with that.
Thanks. Oh no! What have I
We're
done?
doomed. We're doomed. We'll never make it.
It seems we've gone stir crazy in the last month.
I think we have. I think we have. It's isolation has done wonderful things.
The thing is, you try and don't succeed. If you learn from it, it's not a failure.
So good.
Just so you know, these are random order sound clips.
Because they're
Wonderful.
very apt and fitting for for the moment. Bob Ross knows what to say.
We must consult the oracle, Bob.
Oh, wise and mighty Bob, what do you have to say?
You have to have dark in order to show light. It's just like in life.
Is it now? Anyway,
There we go.
moving on. So, it's been a month since we did this, and as we just said, last weekend was Mother's Day. We would have been live last weekend, or well, we would have been recording last weekend, but moms take precedence.
And presents.
Yeah.
Yes, and presents.
And presents, yes.
And presents, yes.
Precedence and presents. And
Yes.
presents. You have to be presents. What? You have to be present to give presents because it's a precedent, right?
Not unless you moonpig.
I'm sorry, what?
And then Moonpig will do it for you.
Is this like Spider Pig?
No. Moonpig's a
Spider
company that makes cards.
Spider Pig.
I don't
Oh.
even know what's happening anymore.
I don't
I'm
either.
just-
Should we go to personal progress?
So, it's been a long month.
The Australian residents are talking.
It's been a long month, and we've all been in some sort of quarantine, lockdown, or have a stay-at-home order. So it seems we've been going rather crazy, but it's been a chance to at least get stuff done from home. So I can kick this off by saying I've started playing Kerbal again.
Yay!
Yup. I started a new save, brand new save. Unlocked the tech tree from the get-go because it's a science save at that, and I'm using science as a score system. So recently, to start it off, I built a comm network. Multiple comm networks, and now I'm building a station with a shuttle.
Did you disable the default comm network so you only had the KSC as a start point?
So I'm actually using a mod right now called CommNet Constellation. If y'all want to, we can talk about this in like a spotlight later. But
Well, I was going to talk about remote tech actually, so this would be a good comparison.
hey, it'll go together well. We'll get to that later then. But in short, it lets you clean up the stock comm system. And like I said, I'll go into detail more into that later. But that's what I've been up to. I've only left the house 4 times in the past 50 days. Or no, 5 times. 3 of those were to get food.
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same, except it's like 8 weeks.
That's
now.
probably why we're all a bit bonkers.
I've had to go out about twice a week for various reasons, unfortunately.
Boo.
Ooh, Red, I'm sorry. Well,
Yeah, well, it's things like, taking care of family, getting
Right.
medication, getting food for people, things like that.
understandable.
Makes sense.
So it sounds like you're keeping somewhat busy then.
Oh, yeah. I'm going out about the same as I used to. It's just now when I go out, I have to, take a small bottle of hand sanitizer, a mask, and shower down every time I get back home.
Right.
Burn your
sanitizer, anyone?
clothes, the
Yeah.
standard.
Set
Burn
fire
your
to your
clothes,
shoes,
set
yeah.
fire to the, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yell
yeah.
at people in the apartment complex who don't bother even wearing masks.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kerbal.
Burn their homes down. It's fine. A little bit of arson doesn't hurt anyone. It's fine.
I love arson.
This podcast does not
Someone
endorse
say
arson.
fire.
Yeah, thank you, Yaki. We
Just
do
to
not
know,
endorse arson.
that's just a running joke, meme, whatever, what have you on my channel. I do not endorse setting fire to anything except fireworks
And candles.
Or
and
lemons.
candles.
Except for me, you
And
must
lemons.
burn everything.
Ah, yes, and lemons.
Constellation.
Back to Constellation.
So, I guess that's all you've been up to, Red? Or is there anything else you want to touch on?
Oh, was this my personal progress time?
Yeah, yeah,
It
sure.
was a segue.
Oh, I didn't
It
right?
was
even
a
say.
segue.
I was just making comments
didn't
on
pick
your
up the
stuff.
segue, yeah.
It was a segue.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
glad I wasn't the only one who missed the segue.
Sorry, I was not clear on that.
Clear as
Segue.
mud.
I've been doing a Kerbal career. I set it up so that the only comm source from Kerbin was the KSC. So
Nice.
you can do that in the default settings.
Mhm.
And so I've had to put up a lot of ComSats. I've been using a mod called Antenna Helper, which is very handy because
Oh,
it
yeah.
converts those silly little numbers for antenna into actually how far the antenna can go and what bodies it covers and all of that. So
I want to talk about that too.
instead of going, well, I don't know what that 1G means on that one or the 10G on that one, but I need to make sure it goes this far, and I don't know, so it helps with that. The only problem is several of the mods I've got have added non-standard antennas, and so that doesn't quite work so well with non-standard antennas, but still, it's been okay. I've gotten to the moon with Kerbals. I have not yet landed a Kerbal on Minmus, but I've been playing it for a while in the mornings and
You disappoint me.
been doing a lot of science around Kerbin and the moon, and I've landed probes on Minmus. I just haven't actually gotten a Kerbal there yet.
Hmm.
That's probably, I've put up a space station and deorbited already, so I'm
The
using snacks.
the Kerbals were out of the space station when you did that, right?
Yeah, actually, I
Okay,
sent
good.
up a craft, and they used the craft to deorbit and then re-enter on their own. But I'm using snacks life support, so I'm doing a lot of remote probes at the moment, so that I don't have to worry about my Kerbal starving to death. So,
Oh, you have the hard mode
if you
turned
use
on?
life support, what?
You have the hard mode of that turned on?
I think so. I think the veterans don't die, but I think everyone else can die.
Hmm.
I've got it set up somehow like that, but I
Okay.
don't like them starving in any case.
Right.
Which will make going to Duna interesting, I think. I'll probably send a pre-supply of materials, like you would.
Mhm.
But right now, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting ready to start landing on Mimus, and then we'll start building colony stuff and drills and things like that. So, using a bunch of the Wild Blue Industries stuff from Angel 125 and a bunch of the nerdy stuff from New Future and things like that. So, and a lot of Linux Guru Gamers mods, of course, because he's like master keeper of the mods. So,
He's the gatekeeper.
and then just doing other games in the afternoons and played some Scrap Mechanic that with the new survival mode. That's been fun. Going to be doing some more of that this Sunday. So it's our new Sunday multiplayer game. So it's
Nice.
been fun. I don't know if you guys have played that.
I haven't
Anyone
actually
here
heard
played
of it.
Scrap
No.
Mechanic? No? Okay. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff I've been up to.
Right on.
Oh, and Heaven's Vault. That's a very interesting, weird game that I've been playing on Saturdays.
Oh yeah.
Basically, it's a puzzle / archaeology game
Oh.
that where you go around as anyone here remember D&D Spelljammer?
No,
No.
I never actually played any of the D&D PC games.
Darn it. Okay, well, Spelljammer was basically you had these giant ships that floated through the ether, sort of steampunk / giant sails sailing through the flying ship sky with rivers of ether and asteroids and stuff. Anyway, it's like that. You're in a nebula and you use these rivers of
What's this called?
air and stuff. It's called Heaven's Vault, and the main gameplay mechanic is you have to translate ancient languages, which are semi-symbolic, and you can slowly figure out the rules for the symbols.
Huh.
And you as you go through, you learn what more the words mean, but it's not a simple alpha translation or anything silly like that. It's actually its own kind of made-up language, and it's a lot of fun. And I've been playing it
Wow.
for 3 weeks, and I'm still not really near the end. And I'm not sure how replayable it is. It may be very, because it feels like your decisions make a huge difference, but that could just be a feeling. And then on Thursday mornings, I've been doing virtual field trips. We've been going to like the British Museum, Smithsonian Museum of Air and Space, Did a postal museum, the Smithsonian Postal Museum, a week ago, and that kind of thing.
That's a really cool idea.
Using the Google virtual thing where you can walk around inside the museums. It's been a lot of fun. So anyway, and so that's a lot, but that's kind of what I've been up to. And so with that, I'm going to throw it to Digi because that's what the script says to do.
Okay. That's what the script says to do, so I suppose that means I should talk. Okay.
Wait, does it?
Oh, dear. Wait, did I have a button for that? I thought I had a button for that.
Oh, here we go.
This is a mixed bag. I'm not going to touch any buttons. It's a bad idea. It's a very bad idea.
Take it away.
All of a sudden, no Digi.
It's just, yes, it's another level of comedy that I don't think really fits the podcast. My last 4 weeks-ish has been a hell of a lot of homeschooling, working full-time, but also there's been a fair bit of getting through, well, sort of getting through my shame pile, but not at the same time. Like relearning mechanics of games. I started a Stellaris save and smashed a lot of that because getting to endgame tends to make the whole PC struggle. Because the simulation is so huge that even running a Threadripper with 32 gig of RAM, the whole simulation turns to garbage. And you know, when a single year can take mere seconds, at the very start of the game, it can take basically a few minutes by the end game because the simulation is just so large. That was the start of my month, and the end of my month has been Oxygen Not Included. I've been relearning how to play that game. They did an update, I think, a month or two ago, which brought in a whole lot of automation features, which I still haven't touched because I'm only just getting to crude oil. And I've played probably about 25 hours of it in the last week or so. Because let's face it, when you make one mistake, the whole colony collapses. So I'm just relearning all of the mechanics for that, and yeah, hopefully I'm going to be able to start putting down observatories and such because I need to climb upwards. I need to climb upwards, and as soon as I'm done with that, then I'll just continue on with other stuff. The Dark Souls series of games is one of my favorite series, so on my own streams I've been playing Bloodborne because I've never played it before, and I tell you, that's freaking weird. It is a weird game, but I'm doing surprisingly well. Like, I'm actually getting through it and finishing bosses for the just first attempt. It's kind of weird, and I like it. But yeah, that's pretty much me for the last month. Aki, I think it's your turn.
KS, I've done. Sorry, I was doing something else. I've done KSP. Not that you weren't interested.
I'm doing something else. Never mind. Were we doing a podcast? What's going on here?
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
I've been progressing my KSP save. I've actually got some mods I want to talk about, but do you want to talk about them in the KSP section rather than the personal progress
Let's
section?
do
Yes.
that then.
Yeah.
Hang on. Can I very, very quickly say I didn't not touch KSP. I did touch KSP straight after stream last week. So, you know, the last month rather. So it did happen. It did happen. I'm not
the only person who didn't play it.
Just the only person that didn't mention it.
Well, yeah, and of course I didn't mention it.
I think
because,
he's mentioned it now.
It's like we're on a Kerbal podcast.
So let's not mention Kerbal.
It's like I don't need to mention it because I'm on the damn Kerbal podcast.
Just by being here, yeah.
Yes, by virtue of being here, I'm playing it.
Kerbal podcast I know of.
So far, yes, at the moment.
Currently, yes.
With about 95% off-topic content as well.
Well, look, we
I
got to
hate my
work with
life.
what I guess it's take two at this point. What they give us.
Yeah, which is nothing. So, but,
Which is
but
nothing. I don't
we'll,
know.
yeah.
Are we in contact with them anymore? I don't know.
We'll get onto that. You know, I've been going through my career save quite a lot actually. I'm still working out a lot of the mods, and there's some mods that we'll talk about later. I've got probes around the moon. I've got a lander on the moon. I've got a rover on the moon, which is I should say moon now, shouldn't I? But everyone knows what I mean.
I just call it the moon.
Yeah, it's the moon. I think it's
That big gray
it's got the
thing.
umlaut on it. The big grey thing in the sky.
They should have called it Maximus so they could go with Minimus.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, that's spicy.
I'm gonna go into the config
You can-
files and change that. Thanks.
I've got the new contract. So it's been a while since we played Kerbal Space Program, for me anyway. And there's contracts now that actually give rovers a bit of a purpose and a use, which I've enjoyed. So I've got a rover on the moon, not just for shizzles. There's actually a reason for it on the moon to complete a contract. I've done a flyby of Minimus, got some science. The problem with the career mode in my experience so far is that initially the science grind is extremely grindy. You're grinding tiny little science points wherever you can. As soon as you get to the moon, the science points just come flooding in, and you think, what was I worried about? And Minimus as well. And one of my probes
KEI
accidentally.
for life.
Say again.
KEI for life.
KEI.
KEI mod. It gathers all of the science available around the Kerbal Space Center with a click of a button.
Oh.
Oh.
Ah,
Do you have a link to this?
Interesting.
ah.
It goes, you go click and it goes, these are the biomes you can collect science for the current experiments. And there's a button that says, do you want to do it? And you say, make me happy, click, and poof, you get the science for the KSC. It helps you zip through the beginning, but once you've got all the science from the KSC, it does nothing else. That's all it does is the biomes around the KSC.
That's all it needs to do.
So rather than making a
spent
tiny
already.
little rover or rolling a Mark II
Jet-propelled
capsule
rover,
around
a rocket-propelled rover, I might add,
exactly.
because you don't get motors
Exactly.
till after you've gone to space.
Exactly. So if you have the science part, and it only works if you've unlocked the science part as well. So later on, when you unlock a new science part, you can use it to get the science around the KSC for that science part.
KEI. Do you know what it stands
KEI.
for? It doesn't matter.
Kerbal
I'll just Google
Environmental
that.
Institute.
Nice. I might. Do you know what? It's even.
Mork has popped it in chat for you, Aki.
Oh, thank you. Well,
It is a really good mod.
I'm feeling a bit gritty about this save at the moment. I'm going to start again, and with that, I think I will start again with that mod because that sounds very appealing. Yeah, I'm still working out the mods in my save at the moment. I've got quite a few. I was going to keep it minimal, but once you put one mod in, it's just a train wreck of mods after that, isn't it? You can't help yourself. And I've got some really, really good ones. We'll talk about some. And I was doing really well in my save. And then I thought, I remember remote tech.
Hey, Matoro, how's your OBS plugins?
We'll get to that.
You fell down your rabbit hole on that too, so you
Yeah.
can relate.
I haven't implemented many of them here yet, but soon.
Is this on my comment of the train wreck of mods?
As soon as you fall down the rabbit hole of modifying things, it just it happens.
I've got a lot to talk about with Fallout 4 as well later when we get to the after party.
Aki,
Oh, dear.
I'll show you some stuff after the episode.
I can't wait. Yeah, I might start. Might restart my save because I was doing well, and then I installed remote tech, and damn, does that change things? Everything stopped working. I didn't realize quite how powerful remote tech was and how much it changed the antenna arrangements in the game, shall we say? So
Everything stopped working. That
everything
sounds like
stopped
Kerbal.
working. There's a mod for a mod for a mod for a mod that stops everything working, just like Kerbal Space Program does.
It's not a bug. It's
not
a
only
feature.
does the game not work now, but your save won't work because you're installing too many mods.
It's not a bug. It's a
yeah.
feature.
So yeah, I there's lots of swearing. It's a good job I wasn't streaming because I like remote tech. Don't get me wrong, I like remote tech. I love what it does. It actually gives you a reason to build a comm network. which is why I'm interested to hear what you got to say about your mod, Mater,
Mhm.
just for comparison. But I wish I started with remote tech rather than implementing it, several hours into my career, which then just broke everything. And
Yep.
I had to throw up a satellite network all of a sudden, which was good. That's
Yep.
what I wanted to do. I just didn't realize how powerful remote tech was. Of course, you can change things and all of that. But anyway, we'll talk about more of that in the KSP news, really, because it's more fitting in there. We can do a bit of a mod comparison. But I am enjoying my save, and I've made it look beautiful. I'm using lots of visual mods as well. Even the ENB series stuff I've put in there, and it does look really good. But that's what I've been doing with KSP. So the furthest I got is a flyby of stuff on the moon, stuff around the moon, stuff around Kerbin, Kerbal's in orbit, fly past a Minimus, and accidentally sending a probe into orbit around the sun as well. But that was good because it was just in range before I put remote tech in, and got some extra science. So accidental
Yay.
win.
Now, was it
Hey.
accidental or was it just you saw the margins there and you went for it?
I took an opportunity. I saw an opportunity and went for it. There's no
He
accidents,
gripped
of
it,
course.
gripped it by the horns.
Oh, and there is another one I want to mention quickly, just for the sake of mentioning it, is the probe control room. Linux Guru Game has been really busy, and I was so happy to see that revived. And I'll talk about that more in the mod, in the KSP news. Yeah, that's my personal progress. Other games, Fallout 4, I'll mention that in the after party, because that'll be lots of swearing. And also Transport Fever 2, I've been playing.
Right on.
Mater, I'm done. That's me. That's KSP stuff for me.
That's your KSP stuff there. Well, guess what? I think it's about time we move on to actual KSP stuff. Well, actual KSP related. Okay, that didn't sound right either. KSP news. Let's just deal with that.
That's fine.
So what's the
KSP.
news?
Well,
Aki, take it away.
guess what? There is no news.
The
There
news
was
is
one
there's no
tiny-
news.
There was
Oh,
one
I
tiny-
found news. I looked really hard and found news.
Oh, go on then. Say something.
Oh,
No, I'm leaving it to you. It's fine.
Oh, yes, you did get news. Yes, I
Oh,
know what you're talking about.
yes.
I found news.
there is
Just
one
treating
bit
it
of
like
tiny
nothing.
little
There
bit
is
of
one
news.
thing. Well, KSP's on sale at the moment.
Oh yeah. Is it?
That's worth mentioning. By the time this is released onto the podcast platforms, it'll probably be over. I don't know. I couldn't find an end date to this sale. There's lots of Steam sales going on at the moment, but currently KSP is 75% off.
So yeah,
So
when
if you
when
haven't got
Aki gets
KSP,
when Aki gets episode
And the
4
DLC
posted like 3 days before our next episode, it'll probably be done.
And the DLCs are also on discount.
yes, they are,
Not,
and you
not
can
at
get
75, but they are on discount.
you can get the complete edition for 63% off at the moment, which gives you the Kerbal Space Program, of course, and the 2 expansion packs. One of which I will talk about for something to talk about, because I think it's worth reviewing. But before we do that, should we do the community spotlight? Because that's the news you're talking about, isn't it, Red?
Well, kind of. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll do it, shall I?
Community spotlight.
Am
wait.
I overly energetic
Wait.
here? I can tone it back a bit if you need me to.
So-
Well, no, you are jumping off the screen at me.
It's
and,
community
it is
challenge.
intimidating.
It's the community
It's a
challenge.
community
segment.
challenge.
Sorry, I should have moved that
It
around
is.
too.
I'm just gonna read it. NASA and SpaceX are sending astronauts to the International Space Station for US soil for the first time since 2011. I think we mentioned that in the last show. Actually, we were talking
Yes,
about that for
and
a
the
bit.
flight readiness review for that will be in 5 days on the
you go.
21st, and that's going to decide whether they're going to attempt the 27th or not.
Cool.
Mm.
And Kerbal Space Program wants you to recreate that mission in game. In a tweet from the Kerbal Space Program Twitter account, publisher Private Division challenged players to simulate the launch with Kerbals. Players will have to launch their projects and submit their footage by May the 25th to be in consideration for the challenge. As far as details go, the KSP Twitter accounts directs players to NASA's website for the mission. So I'm not sure, what are they doing with it exactly? Just throwing it back to you guys. What are they doing with this video? They're just featuring the video on their website or
no idea.
something.
I mean, all we got was that tweet from the Kerbal account. Not really
Yeah.
leading into anything much else.
So I'm not sure what they're going to do with this video, but if you want to take part in that challenge, then you can. This will probably be completely useless for the listeners at home because by the time I do get around to editing this, how do you copy and paste from one computer to another? Because my chat's on the laptop. I just Control-C the link
It's called
on my
synergy.
computer. Yeah, I don't have synergy. Can someone copy that link into chat, please, just so that the chat's got it? Oh,
alright.
there's a technology failure
All right,
there.
I got. Okay, here I got it. Boom.
You got it?
Thank you.
So
for chat,
The
for
original,
live chat.
the original tweet from the Kerbal Space Program account said the following: Kerbonauts, we have a mission for you. On May 27th, SpaceX and NASA are launching astronauts to the space station from U.S. soil. We challenge you to simulate the mission and share your footage by May 25th using hashtag #LaunchAmerica. We'll show NASA the best ones to see what they think.
Oh, so they're submitting the videos to NASA.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Well, that's something, isn't it?
What they're
That's
going to do with
something
it from
nice.
that point on, who knows?
I go, yeah, great. And then that's it. You never know, they might feature it on their website.
Cool.
Really, they should have taken. They should have made a bigger deal about it, and they should have made it so that they used their mission, their what do they call it?
The mission builder?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, from the Making History expansion.
Yeah, the Making History expansion. They could have made it so that you started off with an actual target that was actually there, and you had a window, and you had a. I mean, it could have been a lot more, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see anything like that.
Hmm.
If
Okay.
you're going to do it right.
Yeah, I haven't been to the forums to check either, but I can't imagine
Well,
there's
I
much
haven't
more than the
either, I
tweet.
admit.
Because it's the 17th, and I might be able to get this podcast out like a day before, but who knows? Let's see
I
how
believe in
long
you,
this
actually.
show runs for. Because usually after recording, if it's over an hour, I go away and cry for about 3 days before I actually start putting it together and editing it. And then once I've done
that happens to me no matter how long the episode is.
that,
I
just in
usually
life.
go have a long hot cup of coffee with lots of sugar in it. That seems to do it.
before you start recording.
That's how I
No,
start the
after.
stream.
That's how I relax after. Caffeine is almost like a sedative to me. I drink it to go to sleep. So
That's not how it's supposed to work.
I know it's
That's not science, Red.
actually.
Well,
Caffeine. There's a biological reason for why caffeine is a sedative for some people.
Okay. Weird genes.
You're making fun of me.
Don't
Of course I
don't
am.
call out my chosen pants.
Oh, that's right. SpaceX did post an ISS docking sim too.
Ah,
Yeah, I didn't. I forgot to put that on the notes. But thank you for mentioning that, Cromdor.
Cromdor in chat. Well, we can talk about that
I'll
in
go
the real
find
space
the
stuff
link.
then. Okay. Right. For the KSP one, again, as there's no news other than, well, it was news actually. It's a lie. Red found some news. I thought I found some news. Turns out it wasn't news, so I just deleted it. But what I'm going to do is
I thought I had an idea, but I deleted it.
I thought I had a small win, but no. As usual, it's fail. Fail disguised as win. The KSP 1 stuff I want to talk about. Do you know, instead of saying KSP 1, because that just sounds weird, we said that
Just
last
say
time, just call it
KSP.
Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And then
everybody knows when we say
KSP2
KSP2,
is KSP2.
KSP2.
Is KSP2. Otherwise, it's KSP, right?
Mhm.
That established. So we talked about 1.9.1, we talked about 1.8, and now I'm going to talk about Making History,
How
which
historic.
which was the first DLC made by Squad for Kerbal Space Program, released in March 2018, available on all platforms, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. This is actually a bigger update than I thought it was, because a lot of the stuff that this adds to the game, I thought were added by mods. It's not mods, it's actually the Making History expansion. See, this is a problem when you play a modded game and never play the standard game, the stock game, and want to talk about it because I don't know what's stock and what's mods anymore. That's how far removed I have been, but I'm getting back on the ball.
I'm going to agree with Mork here, by the way. Wouldn't the 23.5 ARM be considered the first DLC.
Oh, yeah.
And for those that don't know what that is, the asteroid redirect mission.
Yeah, when KSP was in development, that came out as a mod and was the only mod that EJSA ever used. But it was...
But it was
It's
eventually
now-
added to the real game, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's now integrated into the game.
It was an official mod, per se, to raise awareness for Asteroid Day, and I guess that was 2016, I think.
Possibly.
Something.
Don't throw dates at me. I can't say. But yeah, no, that's a good point. And if we're going on that, there was that unofficial mod as well. No, sorry. Was it official? Official, unofficial, with the rocket parts as well. Remember they brought out the retextured rocket parts as well that you could download.
Pork jets.
I'm not sure that was technically official.
It
was made by Squad, but it wasn't. It was an optional.
It was never incorporated.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Well, they're redesigning now anyway. So the first paid expansion. If I say that, does that make everyone happier?
That's
the silence that says yes to me. So okay. So the Making History is the first paid expansion, and I didn't realize just how much this added, because I thought the stuff that was in there, I thought, well, that's cool, but I thought it was added by other mods. It wasn't. It was the Making History. So, well, the first thing to say about it is probably the biggest thing about it is the mission builder, which for the first time, I haven't used this mission builder, but it allows you to, funny old thing, build missions. Has any of you guys used it?
I tried it one time.
When it first came out, I tried it a little bit, but
very confusing.
So from what I understand, it looked quite simple, drag and drop stuff. I suppose you can make it as simple or complicated as you want. So players can customize their own missions now. This is what the expansion gives you, to include launches, landings, rescues, malfunctions, explosion, repairs, and much more. So you can build an Apollo, I think this has been used 100 times now, but the Apollo 13, you can recreate that as a mission. So you know that there's going to be a failure, and you can put parts to fail in the mission, and you have to deal with that. And you can reward the player for getting it right, or indeed getting it wrong. You can have lots of little branches coming off of your mission. What would you call it? Your mission tree, as you progress through. So if a player takes an alternate route to what the mission's supposed to be doing, you can account for those variations within the mission. And once you built the mission, you can play it yourself, or you can send it off to the community and other people can play it too. With that, so there's the mission builder, that's a big thing. And then there's the historic missions, which are made by Squad themselves. They put them into the game, and you can recreate real life missions that occurred either US or Soviet as well. Now, I don't know if they pop up in the career or if you have to actively go and select them.
You have to select them. They don't.
You have to select them. It's like a little separate playthrough. Yes.
It's a scenario.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. But what it also did was give you over 60 new parts, which I didn't realize it was that many parts. I know it gave you a few parts. I didn't realize it was that many. And it also gave you paint schemes for a lot of the fuel tanks as well. So you can change the color of the tanks, and vintage space suits for Kerbals.
The giant orange tank was no longer giant and orange.
No.
By default.
By default, yes. One of the best things about it, actually, I think, is when it comes to the parts, is the engine shroud options you get. So you can change the way the engine looks at the bottom of the tank, whether it's bare. You said, I can't remember the name of it, Mater. Is it boat ended?
Boat tail.
Boat tail. So you can have it fixed, shrouded, unshrouded, and sometimes I don't know if it's a mod or not, but you can change the size of it as well. So you can have a small engine under a larger tank, and it doesn't look out of place because it'll account for that.
You're probably thinking of restock.
I don't use restock, so it can't be that. So it might be the default.
Perhaps.
I should play these stock, shouldn't I? Just so I know the changes. Chat will probably come up.
What's stock?
I don't know. It's a template, and then you build upon it.
What you buy when you're getting ready to save for retirement?
Oh.
Yes.
So some of the notable parts it gives you the Soviet parts, the ball style capsules, the Soyuz. It gives you 3 of them. I think the main difference between them, although they're the same size and look pretty much identical, is 1 Kerbal, 2 Kerbal, or 3 Kerbals in those capsules. and it's kind of the Vostok
Mm-hmm.
era. You get the small round monopropellant tanks, and also something they give you is in the parts is the fuel tank adapters. So as you change the size of the rocket to taper it, the adapters are actually fuel tanks themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use that to make Vostok-looking craft, and of course Soyuz as well as you progress in the game. The Soyuz-style boosters and engines, the R7 rockets, it gives you them. For the US-style parts, the Gemini capsule, which is a 2 Kerbal capsule, which is something that's been missing from the game for a very long time. You get a LEM style upper stage for your Apollo missions. It introduced 5-meter tanks with an engine shroud available to make it look like the Saturn V first stage, and also the Apollo style engines throughout.
Which are notably insanely overpowered in Kerbal.
Are they? I haven't used them yet. I haven't unlocked them.
Build a 2-scale Saturn V, you can basically go to Joule.
Whoa.
No, you could go to Elu on that easily.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of structural panels it introduced
Was that
for the crazy designs.
Was that the update that added the engine plates? I feel like it was. Or the
Yes, I'm getting to them.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Calm yourself. I know it's exciting, Mater, but just have some restraint.
It's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Mater,
only been out for about
Mater.
2 years. Come on.
Don't get too excited, Mater. It's not a mod.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I'm
actually,
sorry.
Cromdor's come
All
up in
buzz
chat.
been killed.
Yeah, Corondor's come up in chat. Pretty sure the CSM engine was overpowered anyway in real life. It was
Fair.
because originally it was designed to land on the moon. They weren't going to do the what do they call it? The rendezvous, which they did.
Mhm.
The rendezvous style. I can't remember the name of that technical term.
Apollo style. That's what I say.
Yeah, well, yeah, Apollo style. So they did what they did, but the alternative was they were going to land all 3 astronauts on the moon in their capsule, and the descent and ascent engine of that was going to be the CSM engine, as it was, which is why it was overpowered, because originally designed to land on the moon itself with no LEM. New rover wheel to make it look like the lunar rovers as they were. Engine plates. Here we go, Mater. You can get excited again now. The engine plates are actually very powerful little tools. So engine plates, they allow you to have different engine arrangements with the right click option. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4, how many engines it allows you. And the little plates, you attach them to the bottom of the fuel tank, and then instead of having the one node to attach an engine, you can have as many as not as many as you want, but you can have various options, which is good. And it also puts an interstage fairing in as well. So you can have, which is extendable, so it doesn't clip into the fuel tank. They made it's such a shame we're an audio podcast sometimes when this comes out, because of the faces that people pull. Mate is very happy about the engine plates, clearly.
It's
So
what
the
I've
fairing's
always
also
wanted.
adjustable in height. It is. They are very powerful little things. And again, I thought that's one of the things I thought was a mod doing that. It wasn't. It was making history expansion. The other thing it brought in was different launch sites around Kerbin.
Yes.
And if you're on the consoles, you also get a launch pad on the moon to launch your rockets from. And you got some new engine noises.
Darn dirty console users getting all the perks.
Yeah, they're not bringing it out on PC as far as I'm aware. But this because PC Master Race, we've got too much skill. We don't need to launch from the moon.
Well, let me tell you, have you heard of this mod called Extraplanetary Launch Pads?
I have indeed.
That's
making history. Making history. It is. Well, it's on offer at the moment. Where's the thing gone? I've got it in Australian dollars, which probably isn't much use to most of the world. But making history is currently it's 20 Australian dollars normally. So what's that in US? 15, 9.
Good
About
question.
a couple of bucks.
Couple of bucks.
Couple of bucks.
I got it for free, so.
You didn't care. Well, in Australian dollars anyway, it's normally $20, and at the moment it's down, discounted 30% to 14. And it is definitely worth the price, I think, what it adds to the game. Parts alone. I mean, I haven't used the mission builder. I haven't tried the historic missions. It's not something that really interests me that much. But for the parts that it adds, it's definitely worth it. And don't forget the vintage Kerbal spacesuits as well. so you can redress your Kerbals into different things. And that's the making history.
Wait, you can redress your Kerbals as different things?
Different things. They wear different stuff.
Like My Little Pony characters that we need to make.
No.
I still want to see him play with that mod just for fun. Torture him.
It's got to happen one day, Mesa. You might as well get it out of the way.
When hell
My Little Pony
freezes
stream
over.
when?
You know
My
what?
Little Pony stream when?
That can be a charity incentive for this year's fundraiser.
Oh yeah, there you go. I
Oh,
bet you
there
can
you
get people
go.
to donate for that.
Send ponies to the moon.
Yeah.
So that was the case.
Regret your life choices.
Oh, please. I've already made my face naked before, so
that is true.
I turn into Lord Farquaad, apparently. That's my chat's words, not mine.
Yeah, well, you think you look funny without fur on your face.
All right, you win.
So making history expansion, definitely worth it. Just for the parts. The parts it got most attention for the mission builder was one of the biggest focus, one of the main focuses. I can't talk. And the historic missions, which are scenarios.
Mhm.
But different paint schemes, vintage Kerbal suits, 60 plus new parts, and those engine plates as well.
Engine plates.
Engine plates.
Yeah, Mission Builder had such potential and is so little used.
It really is.
It's not. I like it. I love the idea of it. I just want to play. I don't want to build missions. But then there's going to be people that probably get more fun out of building missions than they do playing.
Really? Because I've seen very few missions available.
Really? I haven't looked. I was just. Let's not knock
I guess
it
I
down.
haven't looked recently, I should say.
Yeah. That's KSP1 for me.
That's KSP1, I think. Period.
Didn't we agree to call it just KSP?
Sorry, Kerbal Space Program. That's Kerbal Space Program.
Now, to differentiate
Semantics,
things,
Mater.
guess what?
What?
There's Kerbal Space Program too, and guess what?
There is?
We have nothing to talk about except one thing.
I scraped the barrel and I dragged something.
Take it
Something
away.
out. So in the script here, the first point of KSP2 news is there is no news. Nothing
Yeah.
at all. I thought I might have had something. I don't. Again.
To be
We
fair,
thought there was something, but there's not.
most game news right now is pretty dry given the current climate.
It is. But knowing how good we are at bloating things out for no reason, I thought that we could maybe discuss just for a few minutes.
Bloating
which I'm so
things
pleased
out?
that everyone else populated.
Would we do such a thing?
No, we don't do that. Here. There is no tangents in this podcast.
None whatsoever. Ooh, piece of candy.
I've suggested that we talk about what major features we want to see in KSP2. And I put it in the script, and the only person that's populated that is me. This is going to be a very short KSP2
What?
topic.
There's
You know-
nothing
you
to
know-
talk about.
No, I know. If there's nothing to talk about, there's nothing
I
to
mean,
talk about.
look, for KSP, we're just going over past DLCs. There's nothing to
Well, it's
talk about
important
right
to
now.
talk about them. I thought that was good because next week, hold on to your horses. Next week,
I have
we're going to
horses?
talk about breaking ground.
Next month?
Next week? Next month. Thank you. Next week's a bit soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Aki-
if you
Aki
want to
won't
take
have
on that
the edit
editing,
out.
go
We're
ahead.
struggling for monthly content here. Let's not talk about or aim for weekly.
You know, I think it was a good idea to go monthly.
Yeah. I think we chose right, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
Because we disappoint people enough just by turning up. Imagine trying to fill content weekly.
Imagine
Oh.
disappointing people every day.
Hey,
could
we've
go
all
and
streamed
sleep
on
at
Twitch.
night.
I mean, we should know something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so I'll
Moving
talk
on.
about what major features we want to see in the game. So the confirmed features, and this is kicking a dead horse, isn't it? Multiplayer is confirmed. Clouds, but possibly weather It's confirmed.
Wait,
Not
they confirmed clouds?
No, they didn't confirm. No. Well, you can just see clouds in the gameplay footage. So, and no. I think he did confirm. Nate did confirm clouds actually, but he used the word weather.
Which
So
Nate?
The director.
The creative type
Simpson,
Nate?
is it? Just Nate.
Is it Nate 1 or Nate 2?
Well, let's call it Nate 1, and it's still just ambiguous.
All right, we'll work on that. Sorry to the Nate that we're working on this. We promise.
I think we're safe. I don't think he listens to these. I think we're safe.
Wait. I've got a flag with their names.
You have. But
I
I'm
do.
pretty sure he said weather, so that might just mean more than clouds.
just
We
saying
could
whether or
get
not he did
winds
it?
and storm, whether or not he did it. I see what he did. That's dad joke right there. Interstellar travel is confirmed. So they're the major ones. What does it say, Mesa? So this is a home, Mesa's holding up a flag.
Nate
Trying to
R,
read.
producer. And then
Excellent.
I think that's Nate Robinson, creative type dude.
Nate R. So we've
I'm-
gone from
I'm
Nate
reading
to
it. It's-
Nate 1 to Nate R. Still.
Nate R and Nate R.
There's
Okay,
just
Nate
different layers of
R1,
mystery
Nate
we're adding
R2.
here, isn't there?
I'm just gonna.
Actually, oh no, we'll do it in the community spotlight.
What?
No, ignore me. The major ones that I want to see, the two major ones that I dragged out of the scraped out the barrel of KSP2 news, live support. I would like live support to be optional, and we'll talk about live support for KSP when we get to community spotlight, because I want to talk about that some more. But I really, really would like to see live support. It has to be optional because if you're going to do colonies to in interstellar. In an interstellar capacity, delivering food or snacks and water, shall we say, is going to be a right pain. But I still would like to see life support as an option. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
As
'Cause
a
I always use it in
difficulty
KSP1.
setting, yes.
As a difficulty setting, yes, that would be very important. Not a compulsory thing, but it would be good to see it as a
I
setting.
don't mind it as compulsory.
Yeah, no, you couldn't make it as compulsory. It
You
would get to.
could.
You could. I
If
think it'll upset
compulsory,
a lot of people.
I think the best way would be to do it like Snacks does it. By default.
Yeah, I think Snacks is out of all the live supports. I think Snacks is the most Kerbal-y one.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely
Yes,
agree on
I
that.
agree with that. I agree
Hmm.
with that. That's why I use it. I've used everything from USI to TAC Life support to NOMS to Snacks, and my opinion is that Snacks is the best.
Yeah. Well, you can say it's the most Kerbal-y. I would say the most Kerbal-y.
No, I'd say the best.
I like Kerbalism, although at the moment I'm using TAC
No.
Life support.
No,
I like what Kerbalism does. It's just got updated, so I'm going to probably put it back in. And then when I've done that, I'll probably have to start my save again. But at the moment, I'm using TAC Life support. But anyway, that's digressing. But well, it's not really.
and we never do that.
No. There's no tangents.
Tangents?
I
Somebody
would.
say tangents? I love
I would like to
tangents.
see it as an option for sure. I don't know what chat thinks actually. I haven't been looking at chat.
As an
set
option,
up-
yes.
Definitely as an option. It has to be an option. It would be too much management for this style of game to have it as compulsory for a lot of people. But then some
Yes.
people like pain, so life support would be a good option for that. And the other one I'd
no
really
kink shaming though. No kink shaming.
no.
None at all. No.
You were saying,
That's
Aki.
a different podcast.
You were saying, Aki.
The other one, I think, I believe that there is a mod that does this in Kerbal Space Program, but footprints and vehicle tracks. I would like to see the Kerbals
Yes.
leave footprints and vehicle tracks.
Oh, I would love that.
I'm quite sure
would be
there's a
pretty
mod that does that for Kerbal Space Program, but it'd be good to have it as default in KSP2. And do you know
Mhm.
what? I'd be surprised if it wasn't in KSP2 at this stage. For the stuff that it seems like, the depth that they seem to be going with all of this, I would say that tracks and footprints is probably very likely. That's all I've got. That's it. That's my
Okay,
KSP2
I'll
content.
add something,
All right.
something to this.
Yeah, I've got something to add too, so you go first.
Okay, all right. So what I'd like to see is something along the lines of better reentry effects if anybody uses that mod.
Yes, I do.
as well as the mod that I want to talk about in a little bit, Comnet Constellation. We'll get to why on that front, but better reentry effects are just pretty. I mean, they're just that's all.
Do you
there is
know?
to it.
From what I understand, that they're in the game already.
Yeah,
they
they
were
are.
just turned off.
Yep.
Yeah.
That mod just enables them.
It just enables them. Yeah.
It's
How
just
bizarre
like-
is that? I wonder why that's not an option.
It's like that mod from a long time ago that enabled the alternate Kerbal death animation.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not sure I want
Neither
to
do
know.
I, but that's okay. Just smile.
This
Does it involve suffering?
They splat.
Excellent.
really?
They splat.
And,
That's
and
amazing.
leave squish marks.
Oh
Excellent.
no! No more puff of dust. There is entrails.
Just like green splats. At least this is what
Yeah.
one of my mods has told me.
Excellent.
Kerbals are
I want it.
disposable
You might have been
little
pulling your leg.
creatures,
No,
but I'm
he
not
was
sure I
looking
want to
for
see
it.
them splat.
I do.
Apart from Digi.
I do. I want that death animation. That sounds amazing.
Anybody here used in the past the mod that made them squeak when they hit the ground?
Yes.
Yes,
That was great.
I
It was
remember
great.
that.
I want that mod back.
And when they used to bump into things.
Yep. This-
Yeah.
The squeak.
Squeaky
Should we get onto
Kerbals.
community spotlight then? So that
I think we
is
might-
there-
I think
is there any KSP2 features that you guys definitely
wait.
want to see?
Digi had something to
There's-
say.
There is one. More objects of interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like give us more things to go check out, because for me, who lacks a creative mind when it comes to making rockets, I'd like to actually have things to go and see. And
But
just
with this
go,
new
like,
splat mod
hooray.
that you've now learned
Better
about, are you going to
Better
leave?
documented mod support.
Well,
modders.
yes, I think everyone wants that.
So that the modders can know what the classes are and all of that very easily, rather than having to self-document and all that.
Trial and
yeah,
error. Is
yeah.
it trial and error? Is that how mods are done?
Well, I know you can see it, I mean, you can pull up the various classes through, you can get a list of classes and then they're described and you can kind of figure out what they are and all of that. And but yeah, an SDK or something like that, something that makes it easier to make the mods, because they've got to have mod support, and the easier you make it to mod, the better it is. And right now people are basically writing, I mean, there's a reason we use Mod Manager, which is a DLL, in order to get into the system. I mean, it's make it built in a bit better and make it a better documented and easier to use, so that modders have an easier time of it, and to encourage the modding community.
I would be surprised if that didn't happen as well, actually.
Well, I mean,
They are, from the get-go, they said that the modding community would be a focus of theirs. So
yeah,
hopefully, we can hope,
I'm
can't we?
I mean, I
just
touched on it.
saying.
I touched on it in one of the past episodes. Having met the devs at PAX East and West, they care about the community. So I have
Yeah, I know they care
no
about the
doubt.
community. It's just,
I have no doubt they're going to listen, is what I mean.
I'm
okay.
confident for you, Red. I'm confident for you.
I
Will
mean,
you get
asked
back into
what I
mod
wanted to see,
making?
and that's what I want to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
No, I'm not making any
No.
mods.
Okay,
No,
all right.
that's not happening. The problem is I have to
That's
I
that.
love how the response to that is no. Jeez.
There's no discussion on that then.
well, the problem is that every time I had to update the mod, I literally had to teach myself C# again from scratch, because my memory's junk.
Yeah, I just took the easy way. I don't know C#.
Well, I literally went to go take a
Wait for other
class
people
on
to build the
C#.
mod.
Exactly.
So, but I'm just not, if I have to update a mod once every 6 months, by the time 6 months has passed, I've forgotten what I was doing. And this is part of why I turned it over to Linux Guru Gamers, so that I wasn't, I didn't want the mod that I made to die, and I wasn't going to be able to keep it up anymore, because every time they made a change, I'd have to relearn everything and then figure out the changes on top of that. And I wasn't able to do it anymore. So
Well, I think you handed it over to good hands, that's for sure.
I did, and it's actually expanded and become a better mod since I handed it over. It's actually does more than I ever imagined now. So it's got additional plugins, it does additional things, so it's really become something a lot better than what I started with. So
Cool. Well, should we go into the community spotlight, because this is what we're talking about now, anyway, isn't it? Pretty much. And
Yeah,
then we
we're
can.
basically already
believe
doing
so.
community spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's make it official. Community spotlight.
Okay.
And to kick this off, actually, sorry, mate, I'm kind of overriding you
No,
here.
you
but,
had yours first. I added mine at the last minute.
Okay. Well, I was going to do the email. We got an email,
Oh.
and what
It's
better
mail
way?
time.
It's mail time. We finally got an email for our relaunch. BST relaunched, mate.
We need a jingle.
By the way, for anybody
What,
that
an email
wishes to
jingle?
send us an email or any sort of message whatsoever, you can email us at boostersandspacetape@gmail.com.
There we go. And
You
do you know
can?
what? Someone did. Yeah.
Was it spam?
Yes, it was. it was. It was certain enlargement
It was
pills
not.
that we
Oh, it was not that. I assure you of that.
because that's all.
It's
the
all
spam
about
I
the
seem to get. Okay, so this is to kick this off because it's about mods, so we might as well just use this as the springboard into this section.
Yeah.
And it's from Moral, who comes from Australia. He says, "G'day, guys. Moral
G'day.
from Australia here.
G'day,
How long
mate.
do you think it will take for Real Solar System / Realism Overhaul mod to come out once KSP2 is out? Once I took on the challenge of Realism Overhaul, I could never go back to the stock game." And that's true of a lot of mods, isn't it? There are certain mods that you come across, and once you've got them, you can't play without them.
Cheers.
Kerbal Engineer.
Moral. He missed that part of the message.
Kerbal Engineer. Say again? Oh, yes. Thanks, Moral, for the message. So we were talking about this before the show started, actually, a little bit.
Mhm.
And it's
We were?
dependent
Oh,
on
yeah.
a few things, at least for KSP1 anyway. Sorry, KSP. Because Realism Overhaul, or, Real Solar System, it depends on the mod Copernicus, which allows you to add additional bodies and make changes to planets and everything in the
Okay.
game,
Let's be
as
real.
it is.
Copernicus is the Optifine of KSP.
Hmm.
What's Optifine?
Do you play Minecraft? How do you not know what Optifine is?
I've only played it as a user and I haven't played it in ages. What are you talking about?
Okay, I'll teach you later
I-
because that's going to be
Okay.
a podcast
played-
of its own.
Okay. I assume it must be Minecraft related then, so that's fine.
So just for some context, for those that might not be familiar with it, so KSP, it's 1/10. Correct me if I'm wrong. 1/10 the size of.
I thought it was
so
1/6.
is it? It's something like that. Let's just. It's one something of something.
Isn't that why it was 64? 6.4?
6.4.
6.4 scale. I
Yeah,
think.
so the
Yeah.
6.4 scale solar system that brought all the engines in line with their real life counterparts.
Yeah.
That's what That's why it was 6.4, because the engines in KS. I mean, hell, we're talking about the Saturn V in Making History expansion is so overpowered. You build the. Was it you made us saying if you build the Saturn V rocket in KSP, it'll get you to Joule instead of just the moon.
Effectively, I mean, the first stage will probably get you halfway to the moon.
There you go. So, because the engines are overpowered, and that's because the game doesn't want you to struggle. Not in that it makes you struggle in lots of ways, but that's not one of the ways they want you to struggle. So the 6.4
Kerbal
size,
triplets.
the 6.4 size makes the engines perform as they would in real life, their real life counterparts in the KSP system.
Mhm.
So I'm quite anyway. Let's just call it 1/10 the size, whatever it is. But obviously, the planets, the whole solar system is a lot smaller
Mhm.
than the real life counterparts. I think Elu, the orbit of Elu, still fits within Earth's orbit.
Yes.
If you're going to overlap
It-
Kerbin's solar system to the real solar
the
system,
furthest
yeah,
point of Elu is just
That's cool.
under Earth's orbit.
there you go. Now, what real solar system does and Realism Overhaul, it makes it all life size in the game. So you can play, and I think that makes the rockets underpowered. If you're going to use the 10 times, I think Realism Overhaul makes it 10 times larger. So but that puts it to the real scale. The 6.4 is a compromise between stock and real life.
But our RO also rebalances the parts as well. So
It does? Okay.
yes.
So, okay, fine. So that's what realism, and it puts everything at the right distance, the right size, and it is extremely challenging. But I think I tried it once. I've never done a career or playthrough with it, and I can understand why it's one of those mods that once you have it, you can't be without it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't play KSP the same way again, not for stock anyway. But going on from that though, is that it's one of those mods that always gets attention. It's been regularly updated. It's got its own fan base. That mod has its own community, I should say.
What, the real one or Copernicus?
The real one, the real solar system one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just making sure I was on the same page.
Yeah, sorry. No, clarity's good. I tend to ramble. So, yeah, so it's always got support. It's got a lot of people working on it. It always has done. At the moment, it's not working as of this date, 17th of May, 2020, because it's waiting for Copernicus to update. I don't think it's always been dependent on Copernicus, though, has it?
I'm pretty sure it has.
Has it? Okay.
I want to say so.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason it's not running at the moment is because Copernicus isn't updated, and the Copernicus is a mod handled by different people, from what I understand. So it is dependent on that. Now, getting on to KSP2, I'm confident that it will carry across to KSP2 because of its own community.
I'd be shocked if it didn't.
I'd be super surprised if it didn't. And it'll probably be, as soon as KSP2 is released, it'll probably... Do you know what? It might even start... People get access to the game early access. KSP2 won't be early access to the general public, as far as I understand. Once it's released, it'll be 1.0. It'll be a finished game as such. But some people get early access to it, and I would be surprised if this isn't handed out to modders as well. So you might even find that Realism Overhaul or Real Solar System starts development before the game is even released. So it'll probably come out...
We don't know how that's going to work with Take-Two now being in charge.
Yeah, there's so many things that's dependent on whether in KSP2, because it's probably going to need to be modded differently. I don't think it's just going to be a copy and paste from KSP1 to KSP2.
I mean, they're rebuilding it from the ground up.
Yeah, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's not going to be that simple. They'll probably have to start the mod from scratch again. And it might not need Copernicus. There might be a system in KSP2 where, for all we know, it could be a slider bar. You might be able to upscale the planets or the solar system on a slider bar in KSP2. It's such a difficult question to answer. However, what I will say about it is that Real Solar System has its own community, and like Mater said, I'll be surprised if it didn't carry over in some form. But do expect it to be built from the ground up again.
Ooh,
I'd say.
That's an interesting
Pretty
question
much.
that kind of ties in. Do we think KSP2 will have Steam Workshop support?
Ooh.
I would be surprised if it didn't.
Yeah.
if I'm
Again,
honest.
yeah. I would be surprised. I
Very,
haven't even
very
thought about that, actually.
That's a good question, Mork. It's a very good
Yeah.
question.
So, Moral, to answer your question, I think all four of us here will be surprised if it didn't carry over, and I think it's one of those mods that will happen very quickly once KSP2 is released.
Within
And again-
reason, because it's going to take time to figure out what system they're using. But
Yeah, it depends on what Red was saying earlier. It depends on how the modding works and how generous Take-Two are going to be. Or can we say Take-Two? Can't say Take-Two anymore, can we? Private Division?
Private Division, yes.
Yeah. It depends how generous Private Division are on mod compatibility. So, difficult question to answer, but very confident you will see it in KSP2. How quickly? Again, that depends on quite a few things. So, that's the email. Thanks, Moral.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
We appreciate you getting
Yeah.
in touch.
Anyone else want to say anything more on that?
No,
think that's
because I
just
never
about covered
actually used that mod because it overwhelmed me.
It is quite a difficult mod to get working, I think.
I remember
Never had any trouble.
I remember a streamer we would all be familiar with who used to play exclusively on that, and yeah, it was like, wow, this is significantly painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not even starting from an equatorial launch site, are you? So straight
No.
away you've got
For the real
inclination
scale?
problems. Say again?
Mhm.
Yeah, for the real size.
For the real size,
Real-
yeah. Well, with
actually, you need more than just real size. You need the real solar system for it to really.
yeah,
For it to work, yeah.
and you need to be able to move. There's a mod that needs to move the launch pads around, isn't there? I can't remember.
Kerbal
There's a few.
Sort of.
Kerbal Constructs, is it? So there's a few mods that go into this. It's like a mod pack, isn't it? It's
It
not
really
a
is.
singular mod. Yeah, there's a few things to get the most out of it. There's a few things you need to do.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother tangent.
It is. Well, other mods then.
How about we spotlight some mods, eh, Aki?
Yeah. Can I go first with one?
Go
'Cause
first,
I found this.
by all means. I need to
Because
read up on this
it'll
one
be a
anyway.
quick one, and then we can get on to the other things.
Oh, take all the time you
it's-
need.
It's called Editor Time.
Editor time?
Yeah. So if I say Kerbal Construction Time, I think everyone knows what that is, isn't it? So to build rockets, so you design a rocket, but to build it, it takes time to build, and also to roll out to the launch pad. So one of the things that I never liked about Kerbal Space Program is that within 14 days of game time, you can get to Joule from starting your career. You know, so in Kerbal time, Kerbal real time, 2 weeks has passed and you're landing probes on Tylo. You know, I prefer a more realistic progression, and Kerbal Construction Time allows you to do that. So you design your rocket as you do, or your space plane, whatever it is, and then to get it out onto the runway or the launch pad, you go back out to the Space Center screen, and you have to select the rocket you want to build, and it will take X amount of days or weeks to build. And as you progress during the career, that time gets cut down as you get better. The Kerbals get better at building things. So it progresses time in the game at a more realistic pace. Now, an alternative to that is one called Editor Time. And what it does, same sort of thing, but it does it in the SPH or the vehicle assembly building. And
Warning. Screw Gamer says Editor Time is wonky.
oh, Linux in chat. Okay, thanks, Linux. But okay.
I'm sorry, but if I feel the warning is necessary.
Well, I came across it recently and I put it in, and you can use it with Kerbal Construction Time, but I don't think there's much need for it. You use one or the other. Linux is in chat. Careful, Editor Time is wonky apparently. But when you're building your space plane or your rocket or whatever, the time while you're in the editor speeds up, and it's through the configuration file in the mod. You can adjust how quickly time does or does not progress while you're in the editor. So, for instance, I've got it. What have I got it? I think every minute in the is it every minute? No. Anyway, I was in the VAB building a rocket, and a year had passed in Kerbal time. So by the time you come out of the VAB back into the screen, a year has passed.
Warning.
In that example.
Mods.
Say again?
Warning, do not use with life support mods.
Is this...
Yeah,
I
good
spent a year
point.
in the VAB. My Kerbals are all dead because I was in the VAB for a year.
Oh, I thought Linux come in with another thing saying, also...
No, he did say wonky, a very technical term.
It's
That's me saying, hey, if you do that and you're using a life support mod, do not expect your Kerbals to be alive when you are done in the VAB.
That's a very good point, actually. I hadn't considered that. So when I click back up to the space station, I'm probably going to have a bit of a nasty shock.
You'll just see when you open the hatch.
Yeah,
Or the
He goes-
splats. It's the splat mod.
he goes back up to his space station, and all of a sudden it's Event Horizon all over again.
All my Kerbals are missing their eyes. Oh no, what have I done?
All of a sudden the voice of Sam Neill cuts in. It's just the hell.
But yeah, anyway, I like what that does. It's like Kerbal Construction Time, but a much simplified version, and it just does it a bit differently. Careful, it's wonky, but That's what I use. I thought it was a really good mod because it allows time to progress. So when I go to Duel, it's like 20 Kerbal years has passed rather than a couple of weeks. So that was editor time. I just wanted to mention that.
I mean, it sounds cool. I'm just saying,
yeah.
you know.
And you can make it time pass as quickly or slowly as you want. It's configurable.
I'd like
It's a
1 to 1 time.
Configurable.
Right, that's editor time anyway. Let's talk about the satellite network ones.
So, shall you start this with Remote Tech, or shall I start this with ComNet Constellation?
Well, I don't have a great deal to say about remote tech, so shall I go
ComNet
first?
Constellation is... Or, well, no, you go ahead. Go ahead. We'll get the small one out the way.
I've done far too much talking in this episode already.
Well, fine.
Okay,
just
I'll
put
kick
me
it
on the
off then.
fucking spot, why don't you? All
So
right.
remote tech. Are you going first or am I going first?
All right, let's settle this like men.
All right then.
Wait. 3, 2, 1. Okay, fine. Shall we flip a coin?
We just did rock paper scissors,
Wait,
by the way.
wait. I've got a D20. 11 to 20
know
is
what?
you. 1 to 10 is me.
Go on then. No
One
cheating.
under the desk.
You just go, mate.
Wait,
Just
it's
go.
3,
I've
it's
mentioned
3.
remote tech already anyway.
I got it.
Jeez.
All right, so
This
ComNet.
podcast is going well. We can't even gamble properly.
So,
Guess what
ComNet.
we don't have a problem with.
Oh, breathe. Breathe.
Never tell me the odds.
In, out. ComNet Constellation, everybody. So it's actually an interesting mod I came across a few weeks ago as I was setting up my new save. As I was just browsing the forums, the thing that caught my attention was the screenshot, the promo image for it. Because you know how in the base game that everything is like a spaghetti noodle network of, oh my god, green lines everywhere. Yeah. So basically, what this lets you do is it lets you group constellations together, group satellites into constellations. You can assign them to one or multiple constellations. You can assign frequencies to each antenna up to, I think, 32,767 frequencies possible. You can configure the colors of the network. It's very, very expensive. And I appreciate what it does, because it effectively lets you split your networks across different constellations. You have your own ComNet networks for each different frequency. And it's really, really cool. And it adds multiple ground stations all over Kerbin. You can edit those ground stations to run the different frequencies that you want to run. And you've got up to okay, the topic says you can color pick infinite colors. I'm guessing it's like an RGB light with 16 million colors. That would be my guess. And it's built directly.
You're an RGB light with 16 million colors.
I mean, yes, I am. I got hue lights yesterday, but but it colors the connections in the map view, and it also colors the things on the ground stations. Those things, yes, the stations that talk from the ground. It's really, really cool, and I definitely recommend to give it a check out.
Does this replace remote tech or anything anyway? Is it work in that capacity, or is it more about grouping, just better arrangement of satellites?
It's just so you can better arrange things, really.
So you could work it in tandem with remote tech, you think?
I suppose so, but don't quote me on that. But it was designed by a remote tech developer as a testbed for multiple features of Remote Tech 2.x redevelopment. I ripped that straight from the topic.
Could become an integrated feature of remote tech anyway.
Possibly.
Yeah, I did see it, and I thought it was an alternative. It's obviously not. And the visual one as well, because you were talking about earlier, Red. What's it called?
Antenna helper.
It's a visual one, isn't it?
Well, and numerical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A little bit of both.
It lets you can see it both. You can if you go to the big what's the building that lets you see everything in the
Tracking station?
Observatory. Tracking station, sorry.
If you go to the tracking station and you use it, You can use it to see how things are there, network wise, by doing colored circles. But if you do in the VAB, you can actually click on the icon and it will show you what bodies it can reach and what distances and signal strength for those bodies and all of that. So it makes it very easy to very quickly see, oh, this antenna will only reach Minmus, or oh, this set of antennas will reach all the way to Elu, or I'll get 75% strength if I try to go out to Elu, or all of that. So antenna helper very handy if you're trying to make things work like that. The only problem I had with it was it seems to be having a little bit of a problem with some of the non-stock antennas, which is understandable. I mean, you know, it probably doesn't know what to do with those, but it works with all of the stock antennas. So
Okay.
And as does Comnet Constellation. I haven't tested it with any modded antenna though.
Well, I've like I said earlier, I'm using Remote Tech, and it just completely destroyed my satellite network that I didn't have.
After trying to figure out how far these antennas actually go, I thought it was very nice to be able to just go, oh, there, it tells me how far it's going to go and what signal strength for each body.
Yes, and I think Remote Tech does that as well, as in the description of the antennas, just to give you an idea. Because one thing Remote Tech does, it introduces new antennas into the game.
Yes.
And two, it severely reduces the range of the antennas that you're already using. There is I don't want to call it a glitch, but certainly not a feature, that when you do install the mod into an existing save, it closes down any antennas you had deployed. So if you have there is it's quite configurable. In fact, it's very configurable. And you can turn that off so that when you go into a save, you can go to each satellite individually and reopen their antennas so you can communicate with them again. As Remote Tech is in stock, you can't communicate with the satellite that has got its antennas retracted. So you have to turn a setting off so you can deploy them, and then you can turn that setting back on again. But it is very configurable. But if you're going to use Remote Tech, and if you like, I mean, the stock game does the antenna stuff very well. It's very Kerbal. You know, it's very easy to use. It doesn't really punish you that severely in any way. If you don't like yourself and you want to give yourself a hard time, install Remote Tech. But Remote Tech, it forces you to build a satellite network. You know, there is reasons for having low orbit or geosynchronous satellite networks. And one of the reasons for that is that the Kerbal Space Center needs to be visible. Mate, you want to say something?
You can do that, by the way.
I opened the
You
FA.
can make it the only satellite location is the KSC.
Yep.
That's actually a default option in the stock game.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
In which case you have to put up a network so that you can communicate across. Otherwise, you lose signal.
Yeah, so if you go on, mate, you say what you want to say.
I opened the FAQ on Comnet Constellation. It's not compatible with Remote Tech.
It's not okay. Well,
because Remote Tech disables KSP's Comnet and runs its own.
That's why I can't use Comnet very well then in KSP. I didn't realize it disabled everything. Anyway, it's a different topic.
Moving on.
So, yeah, what Red's saying and what Remote Tech also does, but by default, is the Kerbal Space Center has to be visible to whatever it is you're communicating to. And in early stage career, the most relatable and easy one to use is the moon. So if you are on the Kerbin side of the moon, and the KSC is on the other side of the planet, or Kerbin, and out of sight of the moon, you lose all communication with anything you've got in or around the moon, on or around the moon. So, yeah, that was the first thing I realized. So I had to build a satellite network. But further to that is that the antenna ranges shorten as well. So what did work in the stock game, what was in range of the stock game, those whip antennas, I call them whip antennas, you know what I mean?
The red and white ones?
Yeah, the red and white ones. They can communicate with Kerbin from the moon. In Remote Tech, they can't. You need dishes. You need to get onto the dishes. And I think this is an important thing to say, actually. There's a difference between a satellite and a relay satellite as well. And so one thing you can do in Kerbal Space Program is bounce signals between satellites to get range or visibility of whatever it is you're trying to control.
Mm-hmm.
Relay satellites allow you to do that. Relay antennas allow you to do that. They allow signals to bounce, whereas normal antennas don't necessarily allow that. And I learned that by installing remote tech, actually. when distance suddenly, there wasn't a problem, suddenly did become a problem. But long story short is that I do like remote tech. I do like what it does. It forces you to build a satellite network much earlier on in the game than what you would otherwise. It makes you plan things a bit more, but
Just like in real space.
Just like in real space. It makes it more realistic, which is harder. So it is a difficulty thing. And if you are going to put it into your game, just be aware it's going to change a lot if you're putting it in an existing save. I got quite cross.
Don't put it in an existing save if you value your sanity.
Yeah, because everything, as I did, and I only got to the moon.
Comnet Constellation, however, you can do that.
Yes. I didn't have a deep space network, thank God, or anything to salvage, because I had to stop what I was doing and put up a satellite network. Just So I'm just thinking back of my playthrough. It's a shame I wasn't streaming, actually, because it probably would have been amusing to watch. Although, I had to rage quit a few times and go and get a cup of coffee just to try and get everything set up.
Right.
Yeah, we're talking about things, and we haven't even gotten to the real space yet, have we?
So, I mean, I mentioned real space for a reason, so.
I didn't pick up on it. I was on my rant, sorry.
So, remote tech makes things much more like real space. And you know what else is real space? Our next section. Unless you had anything else to touch on.
No, let's stop.
Did you?
Sorry.
Did you?
No, I was just going to say that you can really tell that this got to Aki. You can really tell it affected him deep down.
Deep down to his core.
Sorry.
Red, did you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay. Well, then I think we'll go ahead and move on to our real space news. And for those of you that have listened to our previous 3 episodes, guess what? The saga of Marty is back in the news.
Marty!
Marty got a name. And for those of you...
And it's not Marty!
And it wasn't
It's
Marty.
not Marty! For those of you that don't know who Marty is, or what Marty is Mars 2020, the new Martian rover that is slated to be launched in July out of Kennedy Space Center. And Marty, like we said, finally got a name, and that name, can anyone guess what it is? Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Marty is not is the Martian helicopter.
Helicopter. I did read it and I've forgotten it. So, drum roll and tell us.
Steve.
Alan! No, sorry. The rover is named Perseverance. We talked about that last time because of Percy.
That's true.
It was my mistake there.
Percy,
it's the Martian helicopter, and the name of the Martian helicopter is
Choppy
not
McChopface.
It's not Choppy
Because
McChopface.
it's a chopper.
It's not Choppy McChopface. It's not Marty. Drum roll, please. It is Ingenuity. Because as Jim Bridenstine tweeted about it, Ingenuity rarely gets far without perseverance. So it's fitting that it will ride on NASA Perseverance, and its name was chosen from Name the Rover finalists. Go.nasa.gov 2YQ 4M4 or 4MF4.
I still think Steve would have been better.
Steve would have been good. But yes, the name of the Martian helicopter is Ingenuity. Sorry.
I'll get you, hey Steve.
Sorry to cut you off there,
It's
Red.
the last thing I do.
That's that.
I mean,
mean,
look,
that-
it's
it got a
not
name.
Marty.
It's not
It's
Marty.
not Marty, so I'm disappointed. You know, that has cut me deep down.
It's
Like,
Percy
yeah,
and
just
and
like
NG.
Aki on remote tech, it has cut me deep down. I cried.
It cuts you deep down, just like his underscore cuts him.
Yeah.
oh,
Decisions I've made.
that Mater, I'm sorry, but that goes over a line.
Oh, I thought it was just
Yeah.
drawing the line.
Look, we'll bridge that gap. We will.
So
I got
last
nothing.
episode, all this taught me ranting about. I've ranted a lot, or not ranted necessarily, but I've been going on a lot today, and I think I've just flattened everyone, including myself now. We're only halfway through.
So, well, we're over halfway. But anyway, moving on. Aki, I think you had something to add here.
Aki, all you did was fill a space.
Well,
Red is
considering we had
unamused.
no KSP news, I think I did a bloody good job, actually.
True.
Bloating
true.
it out with foof.
You did. We didn't just dash over it.
No, I managed to drag up all sorts of nonsense, unintentionally as well, I might add.
The foof.
I wasn't going to talk much today.
Surprise.
Last episode, I asked the question why the Chinese weren't allowed on the International Space Station. It's very simple, actually.
Well, I guess you have an answer now.
I do have an answer. It's all political, of course, so we won't go into the nitty-gritty and the final details. But initially, China's 5-year-old space agency was viewed as too young and inexperienced to offer any useful contributions to the ISS. In 2011, the US banned the Chinese from going to the ISS, and for good reason, actually, because they were a bit naughty, shall we say. So 2 matters of distrust that the Chinese put towards the Americans, including the use of anti-satellite weaponry and hacking of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory intellectual property was fuel for that ban. So, yeah, I can kind of see why the Americans don't want the Chinese.
I mean, sure. As you do.
That's a good enough reason for me.
Yeah. It's all totally normal. It's just don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
It's like we've created anti-satellite weaponry, but don't worry, it's fine.
I think they wanted to test it on the ISS. Do you mind if we bring up these guns?
So, moving on.
Well, because I thought it was quite, I'm not going to, we won't get into the heavy politics, of course, but why the Americans would work with the Russians on the ISS after the Cold War and everything. But actually, it was 2 things for the US to work with Russia. One was because it offloads some of the costs to Russia. But the alternative, the fall of the Berlin Wall and everything, the alternative was Russia selling off the brains and brawn of their missile development and rocketry and all that to either countries like North Korea or Iran or something. So the Yanks thought, you know what? We'll work together instead. So again, it was a pretty good move, I think, for the Americans. So
it's like we friends now.
yeah.
We
Come here,
now.
buddy.
Ah. No, Americans, not Canadians.
Oh, sorry. Well,
I'm not your buddy, guy.
I'm not your guy, friend.
I'm not your
I'm
friend,
not your
pal.
friend, buddy.
Anyway, so yeah, I thought that
Moving
was
on.
a few sensible moves there by the Americans. Well done to you Americans out there for making those decisions. I think
I guess we can do
is
something
all I'll say about that. Well, you have your moments, don't you?
Oh, that there's a whole nother podcast for that one.
But anyway, enough of that. That answers my question from last time
I'm glad we have closure
with a bit more
on that.
details. Yes, yeah. I seem to carry things between the episodes, don't I?
Yeah.
Hey, we keep carrying Marty and Percy along, so
And Steve.
and
They're
Steve.
along for
Hey,
the
don't forget
duration
Alan.
of the season. And Alan.
And foof.
Foof.
It's just like they do the foof.
Oh, guess what I
To the
put at the end of the last episode, Digi, on the edit? Was your Minimus song. Because I said I would.
Hey,
So Minimus song
it's
is back again.
How pleasant.
Anyway, that's all I had. So should we move on again?
Perhaps we should move on.
Do we have a
I'm
history corner?
I'm
We
excited
do
for
have
the
a
history corner.
corner. So from news of past history to past history.
Can I just say what Mork said in chat? Going on about the American
Past history coming soon.
Will occasionally find a nut.
Now, on to past
The
history with
American
Red's
news.
history corner. Red, would you kindly like to tell us what you'd like to talk about this week? Or this month?
No.
Oh, understandable. Have a nice
No.
day.
Red's flat. I've killed Red. My turn to kill someone. I've killed Red.
You've ruined it all? No.
You brought this on yourself.
You've destroyed everything.
Did it start with before the episode with the mention of
Well, between the three of you last time, you managed to bloat out the episode. It's my turn to do it single-handedly this time.
Excellent. You're making
And I
up
seem
for
to have
last
killed
time.
all three of you off. All the light has gone out of your eyes.
Anyway,
Moving on, it's time for History Corner.
question about the Thea theory.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a discussion about what possibly the moon and what it was possibly before it became the moon, and the impact of the roughly Mars-sized body that probably was the moon before the moon was the moon when it crashed into the Earth and caused a big boom. So I was trying to be silly there.
A big melty boom
A big
with lots
melting
of dust. A
and,
foof.
Where's the
and probably
The whole two whole planets went foof.
Where's
That's all you need to know.
There was supposed
Quite-
to be an earth-shattering kafoof.
which probably is responsible for why the core of our planet is still molten. Why our
I just love how Red keeps talking no matter what we're doing.
I'm just if I stop, I'm never going to start again. So, and probably, with that, keeping our electromagnetic field going, with the fact that it probably is therefore responsible for plate tectonics, it's responsible for the tides, it's responsible for all that. So we love our moon, don't get me wrong, but the Thea theory, and I'm probably butchering that name, but it's THIEA.
Nice, Theo.
Yeah.
Or Steve. Just call it Steve. Steve theory.
Earth and Steve.
Basically the idea is that a Mars-sized planetoid in proto-solar system crashed into Earth and make Earth go boom. And in the process,
And melty.
probably allowed life to exist on Earth in the first place.
And continue to do so.
Yeah, I mean it's a good thing. It's not. We're not angry at you, Mr. Moon.
No.
Mr. Moon's the friendly neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. Without the moon, the odds of life developing on Earth were probably significantly smaller,
I mean, the
or
odds
at
of
least
it,
until.
of it continuing
If not
to exist
impossible.
without the moon are pretty
Yeah.
slim.
But there are a lot of different theories on how the moon got here, right? What there are, well, I say a lot. I think it's 4. So I mean, it's not like it's uncountable, but the idea being that either it was captured by Earth's gravity, but that doesn't quite make sense because of how it's orbiting and all of that other stuff. The idea that it crashed into the Earth, which would have been the Thea thing, and the idea that it was spun off from early Earth material, sort of as the Earth was forming, it sort of spun off. Now, the problem with that one is we don't see evidence of any kind of thing like that happening with any other planets, right? You look at the moons of other planets and,
I think that's the most far-fetched theory, for sure.
which one is spun off?
The spun off, yeah, that it spun off because the Earth was spinning too fast, so it bulged and then separated.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's likely that some of the very small moons might have happened that way, but it's too big for that.
It's not like the Earth is bacteria and it's just duplicating
Mitosis.
itself over and over again.
Do you know what?
via
I'm bored.
mitosis.
Hello, friend.
Oh, I want a friend now.
Mitosis. I like
I
that.
shall call you Steve.
All right, before
And the
Red
humans came
leaves
along
us,
and ruined
let's
it.
let him finish.
No, that's great. I just thought we could
Okay.
talk about it. I didn't
Yeah.
have anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I do like the theory.
I
And
think
you
it's
know
one of
what?
the most
The
reasonable.
Earth-Moon system is classed as a twin planetary system because of the size of the Moon compared to the Earth. And the Moon is the biggest moon in the solar system compared to its parent planet. Like Pluto and Charon, really, are a twin planetary system, or whatever their Pluto's called these days.
It's still a
What is-
planet to me.
Still a planet.
Let's not get into that then. Yeah, because of the size of the moon in comparison to the Earth, it should be a twin planetary, not a parent planet and satellite system. Yeah, we do. We do owe a lot to the moon. What are you doing, mate? I
That's the
can't.
symbol for Pluto
He's
as a
saying-
planet.
Oh,
Planet Nine.
Nine planets.
nine. Got it.
I
Sorry, carry
have
on.
this planetarium kit that I got for my daughter, and on it there's no Pluto, and I'm sad.
Throw it in the bin.
It's just not there.
Send it back. It's
I have to bring that
defective.
up.
Send it back. It's missing a planet. Yeah.
Sadness.
Put it back.
There's something said in chat. I'm just trying to find it.
If it did collide with Earth, it would probably formed in a Lagrange point. That makes sense.
Well, it creates Lagrange points.
that too.
Oh. Yeah, Mork said the moon's sneaking away as well. Yeah, is it an inch a year? It recedes.
The moon is sneaking away, and on top of that, not only is it sneaking away, but it's slowing us down.
It is. It's slowing the Earth's rotation to tidal drag. Yeah. It will. It gets because the moon is tidally locked to the Earth, and it will get to a point where the Earth is also tidally locked to the moon.
And
It's gonna.
But the sun is likely to supernova before it escapes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's something ridiculous, like 50 billion years before they get into that sympathy.
And
with
before
each
Moon
other.
2 comes out of nowhere and takes it away.
Moon 2.
Hi
yeah.
guys, I'm Steve. I'm taking your moon now.
Steve!
He's like the Stifler of the solar system. He's come in, made a whole lot of noise, and everyone's like, "Where the fuck's my moon?"
You forgot the beep. Oh, there's
You
an
can
after
put
beep.
that beep in yourself. You can put that in yourself. Every stream gets one.
That was his one.
Yeah, that was his one. Well, it's normally more than one.
That's like the MPAA rating system. You get one.
Yeah. Well, going back to the whole thing as well, is that they theorized that there was a lot more planets in the solar system, in the early solar system as well. But thanks to Jupiter, it flung most of them out. They theorize. So it's not that outrageous and it was very early on in the development of the solar system as well, wasn't it? It's like within the first 100 million years that collision happens, they think.
Jupiter has to be such an
Once.
attention hog.
Yeah. You're not welcome here. Steve, get out. There's another
It's-
Steve, get out. Marty.
It's fine. Steve comes
Alan.
into the solar system, and Jupiter's just like, "You're mine now."
Oh, you wanted that planet? Sorry.
Oh, look, new friend. Hi, friend.
You
My
want a
name's
hug?
Jupiter. What's yours? Oh, you're Steve. Hi, Steve. We've also got Steve. Steve, and Steve.
And
You
Steve
like to call
too.
you Steve to save confusion. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like calling Australians Bruce because it makes sense.
Oh.
Suppose anyone cares to answer that other question.
Which question?
Is the sun big enough to supernova?
No, it's just gonna be quite
It's gonna
anticlimactic.
foof out
It'll-
into a red giant.
It will just foof. It will just foof out its red giant, and then it will just lose its gas, and there'll be a white dwarf left over.
Yeah,
that-
I was going to say, doesn't a white dwarf?
I couldn't remember. I knew this once, but I forget
Mm.
everything. So
Yeah, no, it's no. The sun's not big enough for supernova. Thankfully, I'd say. But yeah, it'll just sort of like drift.
I know it will expand.
It'll expand.
Mm-hmm.
For
You
sure.
know what? Just on the note of that, I'm gonna take a little bit of my own personal history, and say when I was 14, I did a science project.
Oh.
Right, I did a science project when I was 14. It was on black holes. It was on the formation of them because I'd watched a couple of documentaries about it, and I was like, I like this, and I'll do my science project on that. And it was absolutely fantastic. I loved everything, but I got grief because I was a Warhammer fan, and their monthly magazine was called White Dwarf. And people gave me grief when I said, our son is going to turn into a white dwarf. And everyone said to me, that's just because you like Warhammer. That's why you're calling it that. And it's like, no, this is what they said.
This is, for once, Digi got science right.
This is the science. This is the science.
Through the power of Warhammer.
And it was at that point that I decided science doesn't matter. Sound waves travel through space.
That's not science, Digi.
It's just I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore, all because of that traumatic experience when I was 14.
Well, that's as good an excuse as any.
There you go.
You're all welcome. Sorry,
and if you think about it,
I just had to get that out.
do you feel better?
It's bugged me for what 21 years. It has bugged me. So you guys were dicks, and that was mean.
We don't have a podcast.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if the theory is true, then the people that walked on the moon have not just walked on the moon; they've walked on a different planet.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it was a planet at one point, but I'm not sure if it counts as a planet.
It's more of a husk of a planet now, isn't it?
I mean,
so yeah,
once they've collided and sort of merged, I mean, the point is that part of it collided and then sort of bits of it spun off and then formed into the moon. It was a cataclysmic collision. I mean, we're talking,
merging of planets.
It did the Patara earring fusion dance.
I mean,
Well,
we're talking ridiculous here, and in doing so, we just need to think for a minute just how insane that would have been. I mean, not something you want to visit close up.
It'd be a bad time to be living on the Earth at that point.
Yeah, you would not want to be around when this happened.
See, all I can think of now is that the moon is like that bad relationship. It's like a bad relationship. It's like, this planetoid comes in and it crashes into the Earth. The Earth's like, hey, this is awesome. This is wonderful. I have a new friend. And then it crashes into it and it's like, oh, God, this hurts so much.
Have you not heard of social distancing, planet?
It's so much pain. And then it spins off and off it goes. And, and Earth's like, no, wait, come back. Stay. I have gravity. Gravity will keep you here. Stay here. So it's like that bad relationship that just doesn't go away. That's my theory on it anyway.
And then it ended
like
up giving
the
it the
Earth is
disease,
lonely.
the human race.
The Earth is lonely. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Well, I will say that that if it weren't for the moon, the Earth would be a very different and not nearly as pleasant place from our perspective.
No. Well, the moon's responsible for so much, and
Well, we wouldn't
effects
be
on the
here.
Earth and life. We wouldn't be here, and probably not being here.
If there was an equivalent of the moon from Mars, it probably would have had a magnetic field still. It would have had all kinds of things. Who knows? But I do feel a little bit sorry for that protoplanet. I mean, imagine what it would have been like if we had a planet that close in orbit to us. Of course, that probably would have kept us from really being viable either. But I did see a very interesting thing when I kind of was looking about this, about what if the moon had stolen a little bit more of the Earth and had become habitable.
Like enough mass. Ooh,
It's almost
enough mass to hang onto an atmosphere.
Yeah,
almost like a
And-
binary system then?
Yeah, exactly.
Binary system. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Binary system of two planets that close that both had a viable atmosphere.
Hmm.
I mean, just think of how that would affect space travel.
Think of the politics.
Yeah, I was gonna say, think of the politics. It's like, oh my god, the expanse.
Yeah, no, it does leave one to wonder quite a lot. And
I mean, it's all theoretical. That's not a odds.
it
are
is, but
if
it's and the modeling, the simulation, the modeling, and everything works for that theory as well. Because the moon is basically the crust of whatever planet was left over from that planet. The cores would have merged, the mantles probably would have merged. So, which explains why the moon is so light and
so
its size
in actual material to the Earth.
Yes, yeah.
It's made of the same stuff. Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
like another planet.
Mm-hmm.
In theory.
There's a theory /
But
hypothesis
a bad time
that
to be.
the oscillating tidal forces from the moon were directly required for life to start, not just the environment it helped create.
Yeah, the tidal
that's
force is creating the tides, allowing the tidal pools to form where the life probably started.
And going on, the moon used to be a lot closer to the Earth as well. Of course, well, yeah, it was merged with the Earth at one point.
obviously,
but
you know,
it got
Steve.
Collisions.
It got up
Steve-
close and personal.
Steve just doesn't understand social distancing at all.
No,
Also,
But
the tidal forces may have contributed to the first land-based life as well, because things would have been hanging out in those tidal pools and had to have adapted to the slow. Could have taken advantage of, hey, I'm living half my life out of the water. Hey, now I'm living all my life out of the water, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of evidence for the moon directly influencing evolution, I guess is what you would say there.
Thanks, moon.
and the Earth used to spin a lot quicker as well, and the moon is slowing the Earth down.
Yep.
Not noticeable amounts between generations of humans, but it is slowing. They reckon that it could have. A day on Earth after the collision could have been as short as 5 hours
Oh, wow.
for a rotation. It was spinning that fast after the collision. And the moon has slowly slowed the Earth's spin. Is slowly.
I think that'd be all
slowing the
right.
Earth's spin.
That'd be all right. I'd probably
What,
get a
5
lot
hour
more.
days?
I get a lot more naps.
Yeah. You weigh a lot less as well if you lived on the equator. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
true.
I like these scales.
It's
Yeah.
a bit warm around here too.
Anyway,
Okay.
I just thought, I didn't have enough time due to various real life things to do a full blown history corner of space history of an event. So I kind of ended up on this, and just to be honest. And so I hope that's acceptable. But
It's a fun one to talk about.
That's really
It's a
fun.
good one to talk about. It's a great discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't talk about the moon enough.
I like these ones.
that was a good one, Red.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for my history corner. I think that's usually our end of things, right? We already
Yeah.
did the email, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
really, if we have nothing else to add, we can just roll right into the outro here. And
All right.
so
Basically been on my computer and streaming and or doing stuff like that for 12 hours now. I would like to go like that.
Fair enough. Yes. I mean, I got up not long before stream, so before the session. So yeah.
for those of you that wish to stick
wouldn't mind
around
that.
after we run the outro, that we will have a short free talk period if anyone wants to just hang out and talk. But we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here, and I'm going to run the outro as we usually do. So, do you guys have anything else to add before we get into it?
I think I've said enough today, haven't I? I've been on one.
Yes, too.
And Red's bouncing from side to side. He's getting stir crazy. All right. So
He's been hanging with us for a couple of hours. He's already there.
on that note, let's bring the music in and start this outro, shall we? So, thank you to everyone for tuning in to the Boosters and Space Tape podcast. We'll be back 1 month from now on June 13th the second Saturday of June. Yes, we actually figured this out this time before starting.
Yeah.
Aki said he
Yay.
was going to find something to screw it up, though. So, did you find
I
anything?
will, don't worry. No, I'll think of something. Don't stress.
Don't think of anything. We're good. We'll see you on the 13th of June. But we'd also like to thank Popsky for our commissioned intro and outro music. You can find all of his music on his Bandcamp at popsky.bandcamp.com. Subscribe to Boosters and Space Tape on various platforms, including iTunes, Libsyn, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can shoot us any questions or feedback to boosters and space tape at gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Oh, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook at
And Instagram.
and
as well
Instagram.
now.
Yes, we got that working. Yes, we still need to post something. So follow us at Twitter, YouTube,
That's your job.
Instagram, and Facebook at Boosters and Space Tape. I'll get there eventually. Shut up.
Wow.
I've had finals. To keep up with the live recordings, you can follow here on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Matoro, Matoro. I've been Matoro, and with me, Akinesis Gaming,
Hello. Goodbye.
That's your
Sorry.
cue.
Yep, I'm still here. I was reading chat.
DigitalPsychosis,
Bye.
and the one and only TheReadPanda.
That's the READ panda.
You know it. All right, everybody. Thanks again. We'll catch you soon for more Kerbal, real space, and other cool and sciencey stuff. We're out of here. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Foof.